Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about the One Piece card game. I'm beginning my set 5 coverage now. If you're on Patreon, thank you so much for your support, as you're going to be seeing all of these at once. If you are not on my Patreon, you should check it out because these are going to be coming out over YouTube over the next few weeks, but my patrons have access to all of it now and it's literally a $5, so I would very much appreciate the support. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to first begin by discussing briefly the leaders, and then we're going to go through the cards and talk about basically if any of them are worth playing. So firstly, we have got Sabos. This is a very interesting effect. It's red-black, which is definitely one of the worst color combinations in the game in terms of synergies. But it says, Don 1, opponent's turn, once per turn. If your character with 5,000 or more power would be KO'd, you may give this character minus 1,000 during this turn instead of that character being KO'd. So I think there is potential for this effect, but I think in this particular color combination, it's just really bad. Additionally, the Revolutionary Army trait, like as good as it is, there's just a strictly better way to use it with the support they've printed so far, coming up immediately next. This is a cool concept, like the idea of just having your board be really, really sticky, but I mean, a 4-life leader basically being 4k is not the one. Now, if you are able to basically like keep chaining like blockers and stuff, like it can be good, and there's ways to build this deck, but yeah, by and large, I would say this is pretty mid. Next we got Bella Betty, and this is phenomenal. So this is yellow and red Revolutionary Army 4-life leader, which says activate main once per turn. You may trash a Revolutionary Army card from your hand. Up to 3 of your Revolutionary Army type characters or characters with trigger gain 3,000 power during this turn. So you're basically making your board absolutely huge for a discard. Yeah, this is a Hyper Rush deck, and it is insane. The fact this also has the trigger synergy is ridiculous because it lets you just play all the really good trigger plays in yellow, just slap them into this deck and you're absolutely cooking. Yeah, this is a phenomenally powerful leader that is being just really underplayed, I think, right now. It's in Japan. It's very, very, very good. On to the characters. So firstly, we have got Inazuma. So this is a 3/4 1k counter. If you have a character with 7,000 or more power other than this character gains Rush. And you may have noticed that Bella Betty just lets you buff your whole board. So yeah, this is going to get Rush very, very easily. It's also Revolutionary Army traded, so good card is good. Emporio Ivankov, this is the probably best card tied in the entire deck. So this is a 4/5, 1k counter, once per turn. If this character has 7,000 or more power, so you just slap 2 dons on it. Play up to 1 Revolutionary Army type character with 5,000 or less from your hand, other than Emporio Ivankov. So, I mean, this is just ridiculously good, right? Like, yeah, this card is crazy. Best card in the entire deck. Tied with this next one, Karasu. So this is a 4/5, 1k counter. On play, if your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, give up to 1 of your opponent's leaders or characters minus 1,000 during this turn. When attacking, if this character has 7,000 power or more, give up to 1 of your opponent's leaders or character cards minus 1,000 power during this turn. So you can imagine this hypothetical scenario where you play Ivankov, slap 2 dons on it, or you use the leader effect to give it the power, play out a Karasu, and on the next turn, you use the leader effect, buff your whole board, use Ivankov, play out another Karasu, swing with the other Karasu, so now you're swinging into 3k with 8k, 8k, leader swing 5k, and whatever else you happen to have on board. You know, that's the equivalent of swinging for like 10 and 7, like basically for nothing. Yeah, this is crazy good. Super, 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 super powerful card. This and Emporio Ivankov are basically the major reason the deck is competitive. Then we've got Koala. This is a 2k counter, 2/3, which is on play. If your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, give up to 1 of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. So for the deck, this is a strictly better Otama. It's, yeah, it costs 2 Don, but it has 3,000 power in exchange for that 1 extra cost. Considering you're going to be able to swing this for 6 with a Don on for 7, that's very, very good. And you are going to be able to interact with your opponent's power and just like clear board if you want to. Yeah, this is really, really good. Next, we've got Sabo. This is a 6/7 without counter, with an on-play to KO up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a total cost of 4,000 or less. So this is like a control tool, but like, honestly, I don't think it's very good in the deck. Like, it's fine, but yeah, it's just very expensive, and it's not really synergizing with what Bella Betty wants to do. This is more of a Sabo type card, and I don't think the Sabo deck is necessarily very good, so yeah. Then we have got Chakas. This is an Alabaster piece of support. This is a 5/6, 1k counter. Don 1, activate main. Give up to 2 rested Don cards to your leader or 1 of your characters. It's fine. Like, it's fine. It's a 5/6, so fundamentally, like, it's going to be decent, but, like, yeah, it's very fine. Then we've got Toto. This is a 1 cost, 0 power, 2,000 counter. On play, draw 1 if your leader has 0 power or less. how does that happen? Well, you use something like Eager Arm to search this card, and then you play it and you draw a card. Wow, that's so good. Yeah, this is it's a searchable 2k counter, that's it. Next, we have got Nico Robin. This artwork goes hard. This is a 1/2 Revolution, Straw Hat Crew, sorry, with 1k counter. On play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 1000 power or less. As you can imagine, this will basically see 0 play, but people will collect it because it is Robin. Next, we've got Bartholomew Cuman. This is a 2/2, 1k counter. On play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 2000 power or less, and the trigger just plays this card. If you play this card, it's because it's Revolutionary Army traded, and because you just get to trigger play it, and it's going to be a 5k swing with the Belly Betty effect anyway, so yeah, kind of good Belly Betty, but pretty garbage outside of that. Next we got Hack. This is a 3/5 Revolutionary Army Fishman. If you're playing this exclusively for the name, and because it is quite cheap. I don't think you do though. Then we got Bunny Joe. This is a 2/2, 1k counter, blocker. I don't think you bother with any blockers in Belly Betty as far as I remember. But, you know, it's a blocker. Then we got Pell. This is a 3/4. Don 1, when attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power during this turn. Yep, this is something for sure for Alabaster. Then we have got Bello Betty. This is your 1-cost 2k, which says on play, look at the top 5 and add a Revolutionary Army. So staple 4 of is staple. Then we have got Morley. This is a 3/5, and this is a 3/5 you probably are going to play, with a trigger to trash a card from your hand to play it if your leader is multicolored, and when attacking, if this character has 7000 power or more, your opponent can activate blocker, so it just becomes Luffy, basically, like the Rush Luffy. You can imagine the scenarios when you've got like multiple of these out that your opponent's just going to be very, very screwed when you're using your leader effect. And finally, for the characters, we have Lindbergh. This is a 4/5 with 1k counter. When attacking, if this character has 7000 or more power, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3000 power or less, and again, a trigger to play it by discarding a card. Yeah, as you can imagine, the deck is nuts because you are able to just shit out a board, discard a card from hand, do huge swings, and if your opponent basically isn't able to just remove your whole board in response, and you get a second turn of that, it's wraps. It's a glass cannon hyper rush deck, and it's very, very powerful. Onto the events, we've got Emporio Energy Hormone. This is a 3-cost event. Counter, give one of your characters or leaders up to 3k power during this battle. Then play up to one Revolutionary Army type character card with 3000 power or less from your hand, and the trigger does the same to just play a card out of your hand. This is fine. I don't really think you play this just because, like, if it played from drop or something, like, then this would be nuts. But, like, the fact you have to already have the card in your hand, the fact it only gives 3k, like, if you use it as the counter, like, and you have to leave 3 Don untapped in a rush deck, yeah, nah, not the one, in my opinion. Next, we've got Fire Fist. Didn't we already get a Fire Fist? I feel like we did. Anyway, this card's crazy. It's a 2-cost event, which says give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 4000 power during this turn. Then, if you have 2 or less life, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 0 power or less, and the trigger activates the main. Yeah, this is just really, really good. The fact that you just, for 2, you get to nuke a lot of different stuff, especially if you've got, like, power interaction. But the biggest thing is just the fact, because the biggest thing is you just use this in, like, RP lore, for example, and suddenly your leader effect's hitting 7ks, which is nuts. Yeah, this is very, very, very good card. Next, we've got 4000 Brick Fist. This is Fishman Revolutionary Army, 2-cost event. Up to one of your leader or characters gains 2k during this turn. Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 1000 or less power. That's not great. The trigger is up to one of your leader or characters gains 1k during the turn. So, yeah, as you can imagine, you don't really bother with this. I would rather just attach the Don. And finally, we've got Revolutionary Army HQ. This is the stage, which says activate main. You may trash 1 card from your hand and rest the stage. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Add a Revolutionary Army to your hand. So, yeah, this is a consistency boost, but, like, also these ones that don't plus you are really hard to justify because there's a chance of them whiffing and you're, like, discarding a guaranteed card, which is always quite rough. And yeah, they're basically never going to whiff because you're pretty much playing tribal, but, like, still. Overall, I think Sabo is a meme. I think the Alabaster cards are a meme. I think this the Bello Betty deck is pretty much entirely contained here. I can't even think of anything off the top of my head that you play outside of this that isn't trigger plays yellow, which even then you don't necessarily have to play. Yeah, good deck. Very, very good deck. That is it for this review for Red. If you guys found this video useful, subscribe, like the video, check out my other content. You can find it over on the channels. Check out the Patreon and help support the channel. I'd appreciate it if you did. But that's it for this one. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.